Hello, my name is Isbeth, and I will briefly introduce operations and productivity. These terms are important to understand in operation management and are key concepts to learn, practice, and manage for job titles such as operation managers and director of operations. Operation management is a set of activities that create value in the form of goods and services, transforming inputs into outputs. I have to point out that there is a difference between production and productivity. First, let's start with production. Production is the creation of goods and services. I'll come back to productivity later on in the presentation. To further describe the characteristics of goods, they are tangible products, consistent product definition, product usually separates for consumption, can be easily inventoried, and they have lower customer interaction. Socially, we believe goods are manufactured at factories. For example, the production of cars and airplanes. Then we have the characteristics of services. They are intangible products. They are produced and consumed at the same time. They're often unique. They have high customer satisfaction, inconsistent product definition, often knowledge-based, and frequently dispersed. Again, services can be socially described as counseling, teaching, investment management, hospital care, and auto repair, just to name a few. To put these into perspective, approximately 80% of jobs in the US are based on services such as retail and wholesale, and the other 20 are based on manufacturing such as General Electric, Ford, US Steel, and Intel. Productivity, unlike what many people believe, is a measurement of efficiency and has nothing to do with cost. For example, if you were to provide a person with a shovel to dig up a football field, it could take up to 3 to 6 months or even more. But when you replace man with a piece of machinery that could do the job, it may take as little as less than a day. It is about output and efficiency, thus yielding to be the fundamental basis for profit. Something to keep in mind is that production is a measurement of output only, and not a measurement of efficiency. The inputs in productivity consist of labor, capital, and management. Then it transforms inputs to outputs by good operation managers by using some of the below methods I'll explain further to produce, again keyword, produce goods and services. Then it cycles into a loop for feedback each quarter, year, and or how the company does its processes and or audits. I personally recommend on a monthly basis until a steady climb on productivity is achieved. A great C-level entrepreneur I personally look up to when it comes to productivity is Steve Jobs. According to Business Insider, Jobs would stand in front of all of his employees, write down suggestions for what Apple should be doing next. He would cross off the ones that he considered useless, and then form a list of the top 10. Those top 10 would then become the top 3, and it is based on the idea that if there are 10 important things to do in a day, it is 100% certain that nothing will get done that day. Furthermore, Steve did not want Apple to become a company that loses an estimate of $37 billion a year due to meeting mistakes. He followed these 3 iconic steps to ensure this did not happen. First, he kept meetings very small. People who did not belong in his meetings either would not attend or would get kicked out during the middle of the meeting. Second, a responsible agenda. One of the greatest, such as Steve Jobs, made something called an accountable mindset, meaning that every processes were put in place so that everybody knew what they were doing and or what they were responsible for. And third, saying no to PowerPoints. The strength of a face-to-face meeting then would come the formal presentation, according to Steve Jobs. He said that the debates had employees thinking critically. Then, Jobs would say to his developers, you have to pick carefully, and innovation is saying no to just about 1,000 things. These ideas were not to motivate members, but to create efficiency and produce quality. I would like now to introduce my small online business through Amazon called Guide to Books. Even though small, I am always looking for ways to improve productivity. I sell used books from previous semesters that I purchased, including when I was taking my bachelor's degree. Increasing efficiency is key. I've set up alerts on everything I possibly can. This way I know what is going on with the account at all times. As soon as the item is purchased, I received an email with the details, including a link to the Amazon portal, which you will see here on the screen. And the reason I have it set this way is so that I'm able to ship the book right away. With school starting, students tend to get very anxious and books are needed to do homework, even on the first day of school. Once I receive the product, I have printing options on all my devices, such as iPhone, iPad, computers. I directly go to print the label. This makes it a lot efficient. This saves me time to turn on the computer, go online through the Amazon portal, and do the printing. I learned that it's the best way to ship media mail. It takes approximately 6 days and is also the cheapest. I created an online account with a weight scale through USPS to save the time for me to go to the post office. The post office is just about 15 to 20 minutes away. I go once a week to Costco and or similar wholesalers to retrieve free boxes for shipping. This saves me time from going every single time someone places a purchase to either Office Depot, Office Max, or even USPS to buy an envelope. So not only the time, I am also saving money. For customer satisfaction, I personally send an email to the customer with details about the shipping, including the tracking number. This is key. This is very important. I set calendar reminders on my phone to remind me to check with the client if the item was arrived properly, correctly, to their standards, and if they will be kind enough to provide me feedback of the services. Another example to increase service productivity is what our near Bremen BMW did when I went to do my service on my car. Previously, service advisors would have to walk around too much to communicate with coworkers. I recently learned and observed that they are using microphone walkie-talkies to communicate. This was very amazing to me. This increases productivity by the services advisors not moving back and forth from the desk, acting and reacting faster, and doing jobs more efficiency. This is all dependent from where the person is at, such as locations. Since they are service advisors, they're always moving between customers' cars and phone calls. Look at Hurricane Harvey and what happened in Texas, not only by the flooding, but the people. Everybody is doing what they must, and FEMA must have their hands full. FEMA, it is a proactive company which attempts to save people the time and the disasters, and to prevent further disaster by letting people know, put out their shutters and things like that. But what happened with Harvey, it is disastrous. Having to everybody prepare enough by supplying sufficient information about the hurricane, what time, and everybody looking at the news. Unfortunately, not many listened, and it becomes a scrambling aftermath disaster. But I do hope that what happened in Houston and just in Texas for the Category 4 Hurricane Harvey, that FEMA and everybody that is doing their donations and being proactive about it are doing everything that they can for their productivity. I do hope this presentation explains the difference and the importance of productivity in business operations. I complete the presentation with a quote from the famous Steve Jobs that said that what made Apple Apple was not much what they choose to build, but all the projects that they chose to ignore. I hope that everybody who has a business and is studying up for MBA or finishing up and going on to their own endeavors and into operations or owning their own business, I actually have had experience with this. Do hope for the best and hope that everybody focuses on productivity. That way we could all maximize profit, and wish you most the best. Thank you so much.